is up, YouTube viewers? How is it going? Nintenjoel here once again, and I'm here to talk to you about 10 Game Boy Advance games that kick ass that are under $20. Now, Game Boy Advance is a very special system in my opinion. It's one of the best handheld systems ever made in my opinion. It had graphics similar to the Super Nintendo, so I love that. And they also remade a lot of Super Nintendo games, or at least just put ports of Super Nintendo games on it, so that was pretty cool. But it just had a huge library and a lot of different systems. There was the regular Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Advance SPs, and the 101 units, and there was the micros, and yeah, there was just a lot for it. Probably the best peripheral ever was the Game Boy Advance player for the GameCube. That thing was freaking awesome. Anyways, I'm not here to talk about that. I am here to talk about 10 games that are really worth your money. And, you know, it seems like Game Boy Advance games are not really going up that much in value. You can still get some really, really good games for a decent price. And actually, you can get some really great games for over 20 bucks. There are some games that barely didn't make this list because they were over $20. But they were still under $30 or around $30, and they were really good. So anyways, here's 10 I think kick ass. The newest one that I actually just got recently, and I know you're not going to really be able to see these, but Sigma Star Saga for Game Boy Advance is a really cool, interesting game. It's actually a side-scrolling shooter slash RPG, and first level you take over a ship and you're playing a side-scrolling shooter, and then after you're done with that level you're actually walking around in the building and talking to people, and I haven't played a whole lot of it. I actually just got it, but Sigma Star Saga was a game that I've actually been out after for a while. It's a Namco game. Namco actually makes decent games for the most part, and yeah, it's pretty cool looking. Just something I haven't spent a lot of time on, but yeah, definitely a game that you want to get right now, because I do hear people talking about it. I'm sure it's probably going to go up in value at some point. Right now it's like $5 plus shipping, so no big deal. This one was actually on a couple other systems, but Game Boy Advance games tend to be a little different if they're ports on other systems. This is Gauntlet Dark Legacy, and Dark Legacy was also on the PS2 and I believe Xbox. It was on GameCube, and anyways, if you don't know what Gauntlet is, it's basically a hack and slash type adventure game. You take over a guy and you have to kill hordes of monsters, and you're completely surrounded by monsters. You have to like go kill their nests, and then you can move on to the next, and it's just level after grinding. You get gold and items and stuff, and it's pretty freaking interesting. I love the Gauntlet games. They are really fun, and Dark Legacy is definitely a standout. And the Game Boy Advance game is actually very fun. Even though it's a smaller, slightly different port, it is a very, very good game, and not very expensive. I don't actually remember exactly how much. I want to say like 15 bucks. Okay, now here's a surprising one. Pretty much all the Mario Kart games are pretty expensive these days, and Mario Kart for Game Boy Advance is not, and it is a great game. My girlfriend actually plays this game quite a bit, and it is most comparable to Mario Kart 64, which most people think is the best Mario Kart. I personally like the first Mario Kart the best. That's my favorite. But Mario Kart 64 was a really good game, and Mario Kart Super Circuit for Game Boy Advance is very similar mechanics and very similar graphics, and it's well done. It's a really good game, and this game is like $5 as well. It's one of the few Mario Karts that is not expensive. This and Mario Kart 7 for DS, which is actually a decent game too. So yeah, definitely get those if you're looking for handheld racing action. You can't go wrong with a Mario Kart game, in my opinion at least. Tactical games. Final Fantasy Tactics. Yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance is a very good tactical game, and actually one of the games that's responsible for me being okay with tactical games. First I didn't like them, then I was okay with them, and now I actually do like them. But Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the ones that put me in the okay category. I was like, oh, okay, they actually can be pretty good. And yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance has amazing graphics, really good story, and it's a very long and involved game. You can customize your character beyond belief, and there's a ton of characters. So yeah, Tactics, awesome. Okay, one of the greatest games for Game Boy Advance, I think, in my opinion. I've got an itch on my nose and it's driving me crazy. I'm probably making funny faces at the camera. Anyways, one of the greatest games on Game Boy Advance, and I've probably said that for every one of these games, is definitely a keeper, and it's really surprising this isn't over $20. It's just barely not under $20. I believe it was 17 or 18 on Amazon, plus shipping, of course, but, you know, no big deal. Metroid Fusion. Now, there are two other Game Boy Advance Metroid games. One is just a port of the Nintendo game, which is great. And then there's Metroid Zero Mission. Metroid Zero Mission is really good as well, but it's like $35. It's one of the more expensive ones that I wish I could have included on this list. It's a great game, and honestly, it is worth $35. But too expensive for this list. But Metroid Fusion is genuinely a creepy game. There's like an alter ego of you running around in this game, and you are way underpowered compared to it, and she will fuck your shit up if you encounter her and you don't run and like hide in the right place. And yeah, it kind of makes the game tense. And not a lot of Game Boy Advance games that I can think of can actually lead you to being a little bit tense, and Metroid Fusion is definitely the one that does. And it is a just well-made game, really nicely made graphics, crisp scrolling for the time, and musically, I don't want to say musically because there's not really music in Metroid. I mean, there is, but a lot of it's just like sound effects and atmosphere. It's really good at building the suspense. So Metroid Fusion, get this one while you can. I really am surprised that it's under $20, and it is just barely, but yeah, get it while you can. Another one I am just surprised as hell is not more expensive. Definitely a really great game on Game Boy Advance is Castlevania Circle of the Moon. Now, there are 3 Castlevania games on Game Boy Advance, original games. I think there's actually a Nintendo port too. Maybe not. I'm not really sure about that. But anyways, there are 3 original Castlevania games on the Game Boy Advance, and they're all Metroidvania games. If you don't know what a Metroidvania type game is, it is where you go back and forth between the levels. It's a lot like Metroid that way. You get items and you can get more powerful and go on to another part. Symphony of the Night was the first Metroidvania type game. Anyways, Circle of the Moon was the first Game Boy Advanced Castlevania game, and it's really good. It's still RPG-ish. You gain levels every time you gain enough experience. You gain a level. You gain experience from defeating monsters. You can equip items. You can buy things. It's really cool. I think this game is just really overshadowed by the other 2 games, which I'm going to talk about later. Castlevania Circle of the Moon is slightly... It's not as polished. It's just not quite as good looking. And musically, it's not quite as good, but it's still an incredible game. It's just so much fun going back and forth and getting more and more powerful. It's just freaking amazing. Okay, so on to another one. We have Legend of Zelda Minish Cap. Now, this game I have mentioned probably at least 3 or 4 times in my videos. This is actually one of my favorite Zelda games ever, and a lot of people I know have never played it. I'm not really sure why. It's a really good game. It involves you being able to get small and go to little towns and places that you can't see as an adult, and it's crazy. But anyways, Legend of Zelda Minish Cap, a really good game, and also not very expensive. I forgot to mention Circle of the Moon is only like $5 to $8 plus shipping. Minish Cap is a little bit more up there. That's bordering on the almost $20 range, but very good game. If you like Legend of Zelda games, and especially if you like Link to the Past, just get Minish Cap. So freaking good. Okay, last 3 games are excellent for a couple reasons. They're just excellent games. They contain excellent games because these games actually have multiple games on one cart. The first one I have for you is Final Fantasy 1 and 2. Dawn of Souls is actually the title of this. Final Fantasy 1 is just a remake of the first Final Fantasy for NES, and it is fucking glorious. I fucking beat that and loved every single second of it. It fixed so many things wrong with the initial NES release of Final Fantasy, like only being able to buy 1 item at a time, or when you have one of your party members attacking an enemy and it dies, but your next party member was going to attack that enemy, it is no longer rendered ineffective. You actually move on to the next enemy and actually attack the next enemy. It fixed a lot of things. It sounds better. It looks better. Final Fantasy Dawn of Souls is really good, just for the remake of #1. But you also get Final Fantasy II, which was never released in America. As you may or may not know, Final Fantasy II that we got here on Super Nintendo was actually Final Fantasy IV in Japan, and yeah, the numbering got all screwed up because we didn't get all the games. But Final Fantasy II, real Final Fantasy II, we didn't get it in America until this. And so it's really cool to be able to play that as well. Such a deal, under 20 bucks, dude, totally get it. Okay, so next game I have for you is another little collection. In fact, it's got collection in the name. And man, this is a deal for the price. It's only like 8 to 10 bucks. Phantasy Star Collection. This is incredible. This is literally 3 full RPGs in one cart. There is Phantasy Star 1, which originally came out on the Sega Master System, and there is Phantasy Star 2 and Phantasy Star 3, which both came out on the Genesis. The only one it doesn't include is Phantasy Star 4, which was perfect when I got this because Phantasy Star 4 was the only one I had on Genesis. But now I own them all, and they're really great games. Phantasy Star is like Sega's answer to Final Fantasy, except for in some regards, it's even better. I don't want to say it's better than Final Fantasy, just in some regards. In some regards, Final Fantasy is better than Phantasy Star. Blah, blah, blah. Having 3 full RPGs in one is amazing. You would not believe how advanced the first Phantasy Star game is looking back on it. It is just incredible. And the last game I have for you, awesome game, under 20 bucks for the Game Boy Advance. Okay, but interesting story about this one. What this is the Castlevania Double Pack. What the Double Pack is Harmony of Dissonance and Aria of Sorrow, the other 2 games for Game Boy Advance on one cartridge. What's funny about mine is a bootleg. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's just got the main character's head like kind of chopped off in half. It's a nice sticker, and what's crazy about it is I've had this game for literally years and years and years, and it has continued to work and continued to save and continue to be a perfect cart, even though it's a bootleg. I don't know what's up with that. I don't even really remember where I got it from, and I didn't even learn it was a bootleg until like a few months ago, maybe almost a year ago. But yeah, anyways, besides that, you really can get Castlevania Double Pack, and it is under $20. It is one of the most incredible deals on here, and hence why I put it on the on the last game. Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance is a freaking great Castlevania game. It is better than Circle of the Moon. It's not quite as good as Symphony of the Night, but it's up there. It's really damn up there. Aria of Sorrow, however, has got to be the contender for one of the greatest Castlevania games and underrated gems out there. Aria of Sorrow by itself is like a $30 game, which makes no sense. Don't buy Aria of Sorrow by itself unless you're a hardcore collector. You can get the full thing right here. Aria of Sorrow is so cool. You steal monsters' enemies from them when they die. Occasionally when you kill an enemy, they give you their soul, and then you can use their weapon. It is incredible. You get everything from the traditional knives and axes all the way up to lightning bolts out of your hands, kind of like Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. It's freaking amazing. Incidentally, that is the best weapon in the game by far, in my opinion. You can just use the electrocution ability over and over, and it just decimates enemies. It's freaking amazing. Amazing deal. This one's creeping up on $20 as well, but still under 20 bucks plus shipping, but still it's a great deal. Any one of these games is totally worth your money, and some of them are under 10 bucks. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking out all 10 of these. If you don't have a Game Boy Advance, or if you've never played one, Game Boy Advance is freaking amazing. I highly recommend getting one. What I do recommend getting, though, is a 101 unit, which only came out in 3 colors. This light blue, this charcoal gray, and I don't have it yet, but there is a pink one, I believe. Oh, and there's a SpongeBob one as well. My buddy just got a SpongeBob 101 unit. They're called 101 units because the serial number on the back says AGS-101. That's the model number. These other ones are... Oh, let me get one that has a sticker on it. Oh, I don't have one. I believe it says 001. But anyways, you want the 101 units. They are far, far brighter. Also of note, these Game Boy Advance Micros just kick so much ass. They're really, really small, smaller than a cell phone. I like to take it to work with me, and on short breaks, just bust it out and play an RPG for 10 minutes, or bust it out and play a shooter. There's some really good shooters on Game Boy Advance, I might add. I didn't even include one of them in here. What's wrong with me? Although Sigma Star Saga is actually half shooter, so there you go. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. What do you guys think of these 10 games? What do you guys think of the Game Boy Advance? Am I wrong in saying that it's one of the greatest handhelds ever? I really freaking love it. Anyways, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's down there. It's red, and it says subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and keep rocking the retro games.